What do you want to be when you grow up? Lee, there's still time for you. Don't worry. It's a question we're often asked when we're little, and hopefully it sets us to dreaming about all the possibilities we might encounter. Maybe spurs us to action to try different things, but all too often, those dreams get paved over with the well-meaning, well-ordered concrete roads of plans, destinations. Now, if you know exactly where you want to go in life, if you know exactly who you are and you have a detailed step-by-step plan to get there, I'm not going to stand in your way. I couldn't if I tried. But if, like me, you don't know exactly who you're supposed to be, but you feel the pressure to have a ready answer to that question, today I want to offer an alternative path forward. A pathless path, one where you can't see the summit. You can just see the next gentle rise in the trail. When I was in third grade, I liked to wander. I was in a challenge program and we got to choose our subjects and go at our own pace. And I thought that was great. But one day I think I spent a little too much time wandering because my teacher scolded me. Sit down, stop your wandering, get back to your workbook. I don't blame her that much. I have kids of my own and we partially homeschool them, and many are the days where we tell them to get back in your seat and go through your workbook. Focus is a good thing, going step by step through a plan, but too much nose to the grindstone can cause you to miss what's going on around you. In today's world where society and technology is changing all the time and spawning new careers every second, that can be a liability. It pays to take a little time to wander and see what's out there. My last name is McKinstry. It's Gaelic. My mom told me it means son of the traveler. And that's always echoed in the back of my mind that there might be something to a life lived traveling when you don't always know what your destination is. A little while back, I read an interview with Kristen Wiig, the actor and comedian who got her start on Saturday Night Live. The Target lady, anybody? Holiday candles. She said that she does not make long-term career plans. She works on the next cool project. That seemed to work out for her so far. That was an inspiration to me, especially since I have spent literally dozens and dozens of hours in my notebook trying to figure out who I am, what I want, and where I should be going. In fact, I brought a little sample for you. This first one, I write, what do I enjoy? Good entertainment, such as good movies, good music that energizes, good musicals, good music with dancing. Entertainment is something I enjoy. I'm good at producing entertainment. That's a natural gift, to act, to sing, to write, to create. I can do that. I can create things, but I can also make things happen as a leader, bring creations to life. Okay, here's another one. So what do you like? Eloquence, eloquent dialogue, speeches and movies, singing, melodies, and much more besides. I don't know whether I need to stick with the performing and creative arts or whether some other thing is a good vehicle or activity. I wrote this one in 1996, the summer after I graduated high school. I wrote this one last year. 30 years in between these folks, and I haven't learned a thing more about what drives me. Still something in the performing creative areas, still doubt about whether that's really the road. I haven't learned. It would be tragic if it weren't so funny. Me trying to achieve an impossible task, to plan the perfect future. Well, much smarter minds than mine have proved that this is impossible. In mathematics, there is a concept called gradient ascent. And it's a technique for solving thorny mathematical problems that don't have a ready recipe step-by-step solution. Now, these greatest computational minds of our time have determined that when faced with a difficult task like predicting a zigzagging path, the best solution is, get ready, go in the most promising direction. If you get stuck, backtrack and try again in the next most promising direction. That's it. Trial and error. Thank you, math geniuses. Imagine that you're on a foggy mountain. You can't see the summit. You don't even know where or if there's a summit, but you can see the next rise in the trail, and that's where you start walking. You're probably going to have to backtrack a lot, and that's messy. As a result, I furiously try to blaze trails inside my own head before I actually get out there in the world. Maybe you've had a similar experience. Why do we do it? Well, we have a thrill for adventure inside us, but we also have a deep need for security, for knowing where we're going. And that can prevent us from getting out there. I learned about this concept, gradient ascent, in a book called Dark Horse. It was written by a pair of Harvard scholars, and they explored the stories of many different people who zigzagged their way to lives of success and fulfillment. Like the master tailor who started out as a barkeep, later bought the bar, sold that, became a business consultant, decided to open up a men's clothing shop, then decided to offer tailored suits himself. Then he learned how to be a tailor, and pretty soon he became a master world-renowned tailor. Or the story of a Swede named Ingrid Kurosi who moved to New York to follow her artistic dreams, only to plateau and flatten out in a mediocre career in the graphic arts, just kind of treading water, until one day she was asked to design a floral arrangement for the Swedish embassy. She gathered herbs and flowers from her homeland in the markets at New York City, hammered together rustic-looking crates, and built a display that wowed everybody. That one job led to another, and pretty soon she was a sought-after floral designer with no training in floral design. Each person simply followed the next best path, the next rise in the trail. Another book I read called The Art of a Good Life by a Swiss novelist named Rolf Dobelli put it this way. Sitting in your armchair trying to figure out the future and where you want to go is like using a flashlight to see in the dark. A little tiny pencil flashlight. You can see a few feet in front of you, and that's about it. But when you actually get out there on the trail and start moving, that's like opening up a floodlight. And suddenly you can see much farther, 20, 30 feet, the next section of the trail in front of you. Because sometimes we start out on a path and it turns out it's the wrong one. Imagine that you've always wanted to be a doctor. That's your ambition. But halfway through medical school, you get a sinking feeling in your gut that this is not the right path for you. You might quit and feel like a failure. But what if it's not failure? What if it's feedback? If instead you had started with a fuzzier goal, like, I like helping people, I like working with my hands, I like science and health, that would have given you a broader set of options, a broader set of paths to choose from without feeling like a failure if you have to make a detour. I experienced this 10 years ago when I decided I was going to be a direct response copywriter. I had a definite plan. I wrote down several goals on a yellow legal pad and I pasted it up in my office. I read them every day. I was going to find a mentor. I was going to earn 6 figures. I was going to do this and that. And those rigid goals kept me focused and motivated me, and I achieved a lot of them. But I also found myself on a path that didn't quite fit my feet, and I felt like a failure. I think I could have avoided years of burnout if I'd had a more flexible sense of where I wanted to go. Something in communication, something in storytelling, and then seeing a new opportunity along the way. We face a lot of pressure to know who we should be and where we should go. It feels grown up, responsible. But what if it's the other way around? What if it's the child inside us who has a need for certainty, an ordinary child's fear of the unknown? What if the grown-up thing to do is to get out there on the trail, seek adventure, even when you don't know exactly where you're heading? There are clues along the way that help us along. You notice what fills you up, what lights a fire in your belly, what kind of people you like to be with on that road. And there will be inevitable stumbles. And it's those times when I fall and scrape my knees that I want to run home, hide, dive into my notebooks, and figure out that perfect path to avoid that pain. It never works. When I finally dust myself off and get back out there on the trail, I can breathe again and the world opens up. Sometimes it takes a long time to get back there. So to help myself remember, I wrote a song. I'm going to sing it for you. Perhaps it can help you as well. It's called Son of the Traveler. When I was young, I liked to wander, try on every costume I could find. But then my third grade teacher scolded me. Get back to work or you'll be left behind. But my mama said, you're the son of the traveler. You're the wandering twin. You won't know where you're going until you begin. When I was grown, I could see farther down the many roads that I could choose. Oh, it was an adventure I had on my mind, but the many ways that I could lose. But my mama said, you're the son of the traveler. You're the wandering twin. You won't know where you're going until you begin. I wanna feel the earth under my feet. I wanna climb the stony mountain way. I wanna smell the smoky autumn breeze. And when they see me coming, they will say, you're the son of the traveler. You're the wandering twin. You won't know where you're going until you begin. So now you're turning in your house keys. Before you go, you want to know which hill to climb. Well, it pays to pick a path that fits your feet. Bring a friend and take your time. And if you get stuck, blazing trails inside your head, just remember, son, what my mama said, 'cause I'll say it too. You're the son of the traveler. You're the wandering twin. You won't know where you're going until you begin. until you begin. So why not begin?